Understanding the power of habits. Think about the last time you brushed your teeth, checked your phone, or even grabbed a cup of coffee. Did you have to think about these actions? Probably not. That's because they've become habits. But what exactly are habits, and why do they play such an important role in our lives? In this video, we'll dive into the fascinating science behind habit formation, uncover how habits shape our daily lives, and explore actionable steps to build good habits that stick. What are habits? Habits are simply routines or behaviors that are repeated regularly and tend to occur subconsciously. They form over time through consistent practice and are usually automatic once they're ingrained in our brain. While habits can be good, like exercising or reading daily, they can also be bad, like smoking or overeating. The key to success in life is understanding how habits work so we can harness them for positive outcomes. The habit loop. How habits are created. To understand habits better, we need to look at something called the habit loop. This concept, popularized by Charles Duhigg in his book The Power of Habit, describes how habits are formed in the brain. Visual of brain with arrows pointing to different areas: cue, routine, and reward. 1. Cue, trigger. This is the signal that prompts the brain to go into automatic mode. It could be an emotional state, feeling stressed, a time of day, after lunch, or an action, walking into your home. 2. Routine. This is the behavior you automatically perform in response to the cue. It could be a physical action, like grabbing your phone, a mental activity, like worrying, or an emotional reaction, feeling happy. 3. Reward. After completing the routine, the brain experiences a reward. This could be satisfaction, a sense of relief, or pleasure. This is what reinforces the habit, making it more likely to happen again the next time the cue occurs. The science behind habits, how they shape our brain. When we perform an action repeatedly, the brain starts to create neural pathways. These are like mental shortcuts that allow us to perform the action automatically without using much energy. Visual of neurons firing and forming pathways. Over time, the brain actually rewires itself to make the habit more ingrained. This process is called neuroplasticity. The more you repeat a habit, the stronger the neural connections become, making it easier to perform that behavior without thinking. Interestingly, our brains love efficiency. Once a habit is formed, it requires less conscious effort to carry out, which is why bad habits can become so automatic and hard to break. The role of willpower and motivation in habit formation. Willpower plays an important role in habit formation, but it's not the only factor. While we often think of willpower as the driving force behind building new habits, research shows that relying solely on willpower is not a sustainable strategy. Instead, successful habit formation is about consistency, structure, and small wins. Motivation is what gets us started, but consistency is what builds the habit. Think of motivation like a battery. It can power you for a while, but it's limited. This is why creating an environment that supports your new habit is crucial. Breaking bad habits, the neuroscience of change. Breaking bad habits is challenging because the brain has already formed strong neural pathways. But it's not impossible. In fact, it requires reprogramming the brain and changing the habit loop. Visual of a brain with new pathways being created. To break a bad habit, you need to do two things. 1. Identify the cue. What triggers the bad habit? Is it stress, boredom, or social pressure? Once you identify the cue, you can work on changing your response to it. 2. Replace the routine. Instead of just trying to stop the habit, replace it with a new, healthier routine. For example, instead of eating junk food when you're stressed, you could go for a walk or practice deep breathing. Strategies for building good habits. Now that we understand the science behind habits, let's look at actionable strategies for building new, positive habits that will stick. Start small. One of the most effective strategies is to start small. Trying to overhaul your entire life at once is overwhelming. Instead, break your goals down into tiny, manageable steps. For example, if you want to build the habit of exercising regularly, start by committing to just 10 minutes a day. Once that becomes automatic, you can gradually increase the time. Use the 2-minute rule. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, suggests the 2-minute rule, the idea that any habit can be started by doing it for just 2 minutes. If you want to read more books, start by reading 1 page. If you want to exercise, start by doing just 2 minutes of exercise. The idea is to make the habit so easy that you can't say no. Make it attractive. Make the new habit attractive by pairing it with something you already enjoy. This is called temptation bundling. For example, you could only listen to your favorite podcast while going for a run, or reward yourself with a small treat after completing your daily meditation. Track your progress. Tracking progress is incredibly motivating. It not only shows you how far you've come, but it also gives you the opportunity to celebrate small wins along the way. You could use a habit tracker app, or simply mark a calendar every day you successfully complete your habit. Build an environment that supports your habits. One of the most important factors in building habits is your environment. If you want to eat healthier, keep healthy snacks visible and within easy reach. If you want to read more, put books by your bedside. The easier you make it to engage in the habit, the more likely you are to stick with it. Overcoming setbacks and staying on track. Building new habits isn't a linear process. There will be setbacks along the way. The key is to not get discouraged and to stay committed. Visual of someone stumbling but getting back up. Remember that perfection isn't the goal. What matters is getting back on track as soon as possible. If you miss a day, don't let that derail your progress. Simply start again the next day. The importance of patience habits take time. One of the most important things to remember when building habits is that it takes time. Research shows that on average, it takes about 66 days to form a new habit. though this can vary from person to person. Patience is key. Don't expect immediate results. Trust the process and be consistent. Advanced habit formation techniques. Once you've mastered the basics of habit formation, you can dive into more advanced techniques. One such technique is habit stacking. Visual of sticky notes on a wall. Habit stacking is when you take a habit you already do regularly and stack a new habit on top of it. For example, after you brush your teeth, your existing habit, you can stack a new habit like doing 5 minutes of stretching. The power of habits in your life. At the end of the day, our habits define our lives. Whether you want to build new positive habits or break bad ones, understanding the science behind habits is the first step to lasting change. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Small changes, repeated over time, can lead to massive transformations. Now it's time to take action. Start with one small habit you want to build today and commit to making it a part of your daily routine. Let us know what habit you're focusing on in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing tips.